Video, I'm going to take you through how to integrate a quote and how to integrate and analyze a quote. Whenever you give a quote, you can't just drop the quote in the middle of nowhere. Okay, we have a really long quote here. You can't just drop it in the middle of your text and just run and go. Okay, there's a bunch of things you need to do. Sometimes you call this the quotation sandwich because first before the quote, you need to give context. And then second, you need to go ahead and provide the quote. You need to say who said it, and you need a signal verb like said or exclaims, something like that. And when would be part of the context. After the quote, you're not done. You haven't even started. Okay, after the quote, you need to paraphrase the quote very carefully, reword what you think it was saying, and then you need to analyze it. So why are you quoting this? What do you want us to get from this? What do you want the reader to get from this? Guys, quoting, this seems very academic, but if you are doing research and you're quoting some of your participants in your study and you want to kind of extrapolate what they're saying to apply it to whatever study you're doing, you're going to need to analyze the quotes. If you're reading a book and you have a certain reading of it, you're going to need to persuade the reader that your reading of it is correct. Okay, lawyers do this all the time. They take quotes and they have to paraphrase and analyze it. So it's a very careful reading, and you want to just be really clear on what you're trying to tell your reader. So here we have a quote here. It's very long. This is from Ta-Nehisi Coates. And so there was, all about her, knowledge of cosmic injustices, the same knowledge I'd glimpsed all those years watching my father reach for his belt, watching the suburban dispatches in my living room, watching the golden-haired boys with their toy trucks and football cards, and dimly perceiving the great barrier between the world and me, which is the title of his book. Okay, so we have this long sentence. Guys, if you are writing a 3 or 4 page paper, you can't quote this long thing. This is too long. Your quotes need to be proportional to the length of your essay. So if you have a 10 page or like maybe even 7 page essay, you could quote something this long. But this is kind of a mouthful, and I don't know if your reader even wants to read all this. It's a lot to take in. Okay, so what you probably need to do is you need to take the most important parts of this, which might be right. You're going to go through and you're going to mark what you think is the most important part here. So I think knowledge of cosmic injustices. I think that's what this quote is about. I think golden-haired boys with their toy trucks. Not even the whole phrase. Golden-haired boys is important with their toy trucks and football cards, right? Those emblems of the American dream. And then obviously the great barrier between the world and me. These are the important parts that are actually worth quoting. Okay, so the context here, just to give you an idea, Coates when he said this quote, he was describing a college girlfriend. The college girlfriend would become his wife. And he was noting how his wife had never met her dad, and how she, his wife, was, as a child growing up, first told that she was ugly, and then later after adolescence told that she was pretty and that she needed to watch out for herself. So it was kind of like she was too ugly, she was too pretty, she was both. And so the quote here, she has knowledge of these cosmic injustices as a woman, actually, is what he's talking about there. Here's my integration of the quote. Okay, so this is a long quote, but guys, however long your quote is, your analysis should be just as long. That's the idea here. Okay, so this one is kind of a complicated quote, so it's going to take a little bit longer. So Coates suggests that the numerous injustices faced by people of color create a barrier between the world and him. See how I use brackets there to change the word? Because when I integrate it into my sentence, it's not the world and me, it's the world and him. Okay, so this is my topic sentence here, my main idea. While discussing the injustices faced by his wife, the author is reminded of his father reaching for his belt to beat him. This is the context. This is what he was talking about before he gave. While discussing the injustice faced by his wife, the author is reminded of his father reaching for his belt to beat him. His father and his wife are similar, Coates says, because both are familiar with the cosmic injustices, which he suggests has to do with the toy trucks and football cards reserved for golden-haired boys. I'm just trying to figure out what he's saying. I'm quoting him. I'm not jumping to conclusions. Coates is suggesting here that these emblems of the American dream, now we've got a little bit of paraphrase here. I'm trying to say trying to find what these words mean. Coates is suggesting here that these emblems of the American dream are accessible only to certain races, and that this injustice may contribute to the violence and anger that he witnessed in his father. So that I had a little bit of paraphrase here. These emblems of the American dream accessible only to certain races. I basically just reworded his words. And then this is my analysis, that this injustice may contribute to the violence and anger he witnessed in his father. I'm taking a little bit more of a stretch there. And then I got more. You guys, hopefully you have more to say. Unlike Coates' father, however, Coates does not beat his son. And unlike his wife's father, Coates remains in his son's life. Instead, through the book, he attempts to merely warn his son about this barrier between the world and me. In other words, the injustices he and Samori will face in life. This injustice takes concrete form primarily through the police killings of Black and brown men. So even when we say here the injustices he and Samori will face in life, it's really ambiguous. And I know that the original quote was kind of ambiguous, but guys, in your essay, you need to take it someplace. So even when I say the injustices he and Samori will face in life, well, I don't want to end there. That's so vague. This injustice takes concrete form primarily through police killings of Black and brown men. Okay, a lot more specific, a lot more concrete, and that's what he's talking about in the book, right? And so from here, this seems like kind of a transition sentence. So maybe my next paragraph is going to be a little bit more about that. Okay. So the point here, try to integrate the quotes into your writing. You're not going to drop a quote just like this. Well, no, you don't want to do that. And you don't want to say, I agree with this statement. Okay, this is what a lot of students do. They plop their quote down. I agree with this statement. Guys, what in the world do you think the statement was saying? Okay, you have to persuade us of some reading, and then maybe you can say you agree. But probably what you want to just say is what, where you would say you agree is like maybe in the conclusion. Right now, you just want to try to tell us what you think the words are saying and what you think the author is trying to say. Okay, so that's there. Good luck integrating quotes. Thank you.